Alright, welcome back to another Kuma style review. This is one that I've actually been really excited to review. Was definitely excited to go ahead and get. But this is the Soul of Chogokin, GX-13 Dancouga. This is actually a Gestalt, which is the combined form of 4 individual robots. And yeah, it's just plain awesome. I mean, the 4 individual robots are triple changers in themselves, fully posable action figures, as well as an awesome fully posable Gestalt. This is from an anime called Dancouga. I wasn't the biggest fan of that anime, so I'm not going to recommend it as a watch. It's pretty much a bad Voltron ripoff, but at the same time, this is one of the coolest robots I've ever seen. So I had no problem getting the toy. So this was a grail of mine, and I'm glad to share it with you. So let's go ahead and get started here. Alright. We have on the front of the box Dancouga himself here in Gestalt mode. Alright. As well as the 4 individual bots in their robotic forms. Or not their robotic forms. They're actually their animal alt modes. Okay. And when I say animal alt modes, we actually get into a little bit more depth here on the top of the box. Like I said, well, one of them is technically not a triple changer, but we have Eagle Fighter, which is an eagle and a robot, Land Cougar and Land Liger. They're kind of twins of each other if you think like Sideswipe, Red Alert, you know, that kind of thing. So slight remolds of each other, but they turn from tanks into different cats into robots. Okay? And then there's Big Mammoth, and that's my favorite of the bunch. Okay, so he turns from giant tank into an elephant into a robot. And then, of course, there's Gestalt right there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the sides. Alright, one side showing off a little bit of the posability of this guy. See how he can hold the sword and everything like that, even as a Gestalt. Alright. Another cool shot of him. Looks like he's about to punch at you. Let's take a look at the bottom of the box. Okay, exact same thing as the top. So I don't feel the need to spend time going through that again. But then there's the top of the box here. Let's go ahead and zoom in some. Alright. And they go over the same pictures as the top and bottom of the box of the 3 individual bots. It shows their different weapons and how all 3 of them actually combine into a mega gun for him. They kind of show how he combines, you know, head, feet, middle body piece, as well as the wing pack that comes with him, and some of his weapon options. He actually has a giant gun in his back that can extend out and things like that, as well as a huge sword too, the Dancouga. So yeah, I'm really excited to go ahead and review this guy. I'm actually splitting this up into 2 parts, and on this first part, we're going to go ahead and get into the individual bots, look at all 3 modes, or 2 modes if you talk about Eagle Fighter or whatever, of each, and then the second video is going to be the Gestalt mode and how to go ahead and transform these guys and going over that. So this is a big deal for me, an awesome get, and yeah, I'm glad to share it with you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, and just so you guys can see them all together and how they look and how they scale and all that good stuff, here they are. This is Big Mammoth, and then we've got Eagle Fighter. We've also got Land Cougar and Land Liger. This one's Liger, this one's Cougar, black and green. So we're going to go ahead and review these individually, or take a look at them, and yeah. You can see here they have their individual weapons. These are for Land Cougar and Land Liger. This one's for Big Mammoth, bigger gun, and the small one's actually for Fighter Eagle. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to move these guys out of the way. And I'll start with the smallest first. Why not? Okay. Once again, the name of this one is Fighter Eagle. For you Transformers fans out there, he does remind me a lot of Laserbeak from the G1 Transformer series, but taking a look at him from all angles. Yeah. And I mean, he's a very simplistic bird. Let me raise the camera up here so we can get more of an upwards view. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely good for what he's worth. Good silhouette to him. Great even. Yeah, looks good from all angles. Pretty solid little guy. Let's go ahead and take a look at the robot mode for him. Alright, and taking a look at Eagle Fighter in robot mode. Sorry for the brief pause there, but I wanted to get out my ruler so we can take a look at how tall he is. He's about head to toe 2 1/4, just over, you know, probably like a centimeter or whatever those little lines are. But yeah, absolutely. Decent sculpting to him and stuff like that. Nice to see a little bit of detail in his face and whatnot, but you know, it's not anything to really write home about. Okay, but taking a look at him from some other angles there. And that's actually me shaking the table. This toy is actually surprisingly stable. But side view, here's the back. And just to note, this toy also does become the head for the Dancouga Gestalt. Other side here. And then, okay, a front view. Now looking at the posability, his head does not turn. There is some play here, and his missile launcher's up top there. Alright, and I know my hands cover up most of this, but it's hard with a figure this small. So let me just zoom out a little bit and focus. But his arms move up and down. No elbow articulation or anything like that. They do move side to side though. The legs are on ball joints, but because of the thighs being longer than where the ball joint sets, he doesn't have a lot of swivel in there. He does have knee articulation though, okay, as you can see there, as well as feet that go up and down, at least in the front. Good space in between the feet and the heel, or good length there, so he has a good amount there to balance without having to pose around with them too much, like so. So yeah, that is Eagle Fighter. Oh, and just one more thing, I do want to touch on his weapon and how that goes. I accidentally turn the camera there. Okay, he has little pegs on the inside of his arm, and rather than going into his head, it just, there we go. There he is with his small gun. Alright, now we can move on to Liger and Couger. Okay, and here we have Liger and Couger. Liger and Couger. So, alright, these are their tank modes. So we can take a look at the side views here. Okay. Got that more in camera. The back. Okay. And here we go. Alright. These have wheels molded onto them, but they don't move or anything like that. So that does stink, because I do like wheels and whatnot, being able to roll around a toy, especially on these backdrops and stuff like that, so you don't risk any rips or, you know, smudge marks or anything like that. Their cannons are posable. They go up and down. You can pull these out a bit, and you have to do it for transformation too, and turn them side to side here, like so. Same with this. This one has 2 turrets, and they're individually posable. So yeah, pretty neat stuff. And I like that they are cats, but they don't exactly look like cats right here. They look like little, I guess for lack of a better term, more Cybertronian, you know, robotic style tanks. So alright, let's go ahead and look at their animal modes though. Alright, taking a look at the cat modes of each of these guys. I'm not gonna do the posability and stuff like that for both of them, since they are the exact same mold, but I will show you all angles of both of them and then go through the posability of one. So once again, this is Cougar on the left hand side, Liger on the right hand side. You can see they're pretty much the same mold, but they do have some differences, like the little guns and the ears here on Liger. Different kinds of tails. But okay, looking at the back here. Other side, pretty much same thing. Let me zoom out some here. Alright. And back to the front. Okay? Since Cougar's not standing up solid in the first place, I'll go through the posability of him. They come with heads that are angled here. They can go up and down, but even when they're all the way up, they are pretty angled there. The mouths do move in and out. See it open up all the way, and if you want, you can have it closed, or, you know, however you want. Pretty good detail on the face, too. Not gonna lie, I'm a fan. So there we go, just so you can see that. Alright, and zooming out. Okay. Leg-wise, you have the ability to go in and out some. These are on springs, so if it's not something that their foot can actually like latch into or hold on to, they'll just snap back. Okay. There's kind of elbow or reverse knee articulation there, and the paws are posable. That's his little hand. Whenever that pops out, you can just pop that back up. Alright. So same with that. You can actually move the thigh itself back and forth on these, and then there's articulation there as well. So there's not any like backwards or forwards actual knee bend. It's that one right here. So, and these ones are able to move up and down as well, the paws. So if you want, you can definitely get him into more of a pouncing pose if you want, like that kind of thing. Or you can also put his legs back so he's more, you know, straight up. But yeah, overall, decent posable cat type figures. And yeah, there's Land Cougar, Land Liger. Now let's look at their robot modes. Alright, here are the robot modes for these guys. Zoom in a bit so you can actually see what the faces look like. All that good stuff, okay. Now taking a look at them from different angles. Side view. Back view. On the side. And back to the front. They do each come with weapons here as well. For the most part, same blaster, but one has this piece on top here, you know. Alright. Now looking at the posability of them. Their heads definitely move. Articulation in the shoulders there. But like I said, there are those springs on them that kind of make them want to pop all the way back and forth. So you have to be really careful when trying to angle in between. Bicep swivel. But really short biceps. So that's kind of awkward. And they do have elbow joints, but because their biceps are so short, that's what it looks like. You know. So not really the greatest. No waist articulation. No swivel. Thighs go back and forth, but there's no in and out, no swing. Kind of like their elbows, the knee joints are really high too. So the knee actually bends here, which is kind of odd instead of where the knee actually meets the calf. And no ankle tilt, but the feet do go back and forth because of the transformation. There's not a lot of heel back there, so these guys are kind of back heavy, yet somehow they manage to balance. Kind of an anomaly because looking at it I can't really figure out how. The wrists also do have articulation. They can swing, or not swing, but rotate around 360 degrees. But their weapons, since they have these ammo clips here, you have to kind of put them on. They slide into the fist hole here, but you have to angle it so that they hold it under their arm, the guns. These slots are really exact. Okay, so that's how you'd have them hold it. Not really super anything looking. I'm not the biggest fan. I think that these robot modes are pretty weak in general. of the whole set, this is probably the one just plain downside on any of the modes, because they're very dated in terms of, I'd say, both aesthetic and articulation, especially for being sold with Chogokin toys. You know, they're still passable, but at the same time as toys, they're just very, I don't know, like I said, dated. So let me go ahead and get Couger's weapon in there. Actually get his paw, at least on this side, flipped out to the right side. Okay. Alright. Yeah, these knees are annoying. There we go. Alright. And there you have Land Cougar and Land Liger in their robot modes. Alright, and here's Big Mammoth, by far my favorite of the bunch. We're starting off with his tank mode here. He also has Mammoth and robot mode. So, taking a look at this, just a big, beefy, robotic style tank. Looking at it from all angles here. Okay, there's that. The back. And I'll just go ahead and turn it back to more of a front angle. Alright. And what's cool about this, these treads actually do move, but you have to be on a surface that's kind of rough. Like on this, it won't necessarily move because it can't get the traction to do it, but it's a cool add-in, even if it doesn't always work. All of his guns are adjustable up and down. You can even rotate them side to side. This big cannon here, you can definitely move it in and out, up and down, like that kind of thing. And even these side turrets here have the ability to go up and down. So a lot of playability in the toy itself as well as the weapons. And it's really cool. So alright, let's go ahead and take a look at its Mammoth mode. Alright, and here is Big Mammoth's Mammoth mode. I mean, to me this thing is just gorgeous. I'm very much so into the more, like I said, for lack of a better term, Cybertronian or robotic animal modes, and this thing just captures it. I mean, it's also a big and beefy figure too. I mean, back to the floor, I mean, this thing is going on about 4.5 inches tall. And definitely a long figure too. So taking a look at it from all angles here. Okay, there's the side. Okay, there's the back. There's that. Okay, and here's the front view actually. Alright. And to me this is very cool. It still has the adjustable guns and stuff like that from the tank mode there. His trunk has 4 points of articulation actually, like where it meets the face itself, this middle piece, and then the front hooves there. So yeah, 4 points of articulation. The tusks are adjustable, but there's no real reason to do that. The feet can go in and out just because of the transformation, but it makes no sense to ever do that. Now these can bend. Like if you wanted to, I guess, put them in a pounce mode or something like that, you definitely can, because he's got that bend at the elbow there. But I just prefer to keep them straight up. I mean, this has posability, but why? It's a Mammoth. It does have some swing back here, but not a lot in the back. Okay? Alright, so there he is in Mammoth mode, and I'm very impressed. This is probably my favorite mode out of any of the individual bots. But alright, let's go ahead and check out his robot mode. Alright, and here is his robot mode. Let's go ahead and take a measurement here. Head to toe, you've got over, well, just under 9 inches here. Okay, so between 8 3/4 and 9 inches. So this is a big, big boy. He does come with a weapon of his own, as shown at the beginning. And this is the most posable robot mode of any of them, because he makes up the majority of the I guess, middle body for the Dancouga Gestalt itself. So taking a look at it from all angles here. Okay. Alright, and boom. Just thumb down. Okay. And he does have some weapon options there, even built in, because of the fact that he has the turret from the tank mode. And you could even swing those side cannons out to the side like that. So overall, this thing's just beefy and armed to the teeth. Now taking a look at his posability here, shoulders have full range of motion. You can swing these up if you want to give more movement to the outward motion of the shoulders. Elbow bend, alright, as well as the ability to rotate the wrists, bring them in and out some. They're on ball joints, so that's standard posability there. Okay. Alright. And for this, you actually extend the arms all the way out for the Gestalt. Keep them a little bit shorter for him. Make sure that those are to the inside. Alright. He can swing his thighs up and down. He has some in and out movement here, but not much. Okay. So he does have bend at the knee. Not crazy full. And no feet articulation at all. Those kind of are what they are. So, alright. And everything's solid again. And there you go. Now, looking at his weapon here, the exact same gripes are going to go into Dancouga himself, because this is the base for his weapon too. But it just fits into his hand like so. Nothing crazy. The fingers are articulated. So if you want, you can hold it up like that. He doesn't really have a good grip on the weapon with the way his hands are set up, but it works. There are two knobs here on the side of the weapon, and they can actually peg into a side there. It's a bit hard to do though. It's really hard to see because the holes are of course dark and the coloring of the toy itself is really dark, so and finding a good angle for this is a little bit of a challenge too. I actually cheat and extend the arm here, but overall, go ahead and get this done. See, the same problems that I'm having right now on camera are the same problems that I have when trying to keep this gun pegged in, because when you put his shoulder down, it wants to knock the gun down too. I don't really think this was the most smartly engineered part about this toy. Alright, so let's get that pegged in really good. And see, yeah, it just... the thing is just something else. So then you have to try to hold it, find a good grip for the gun, and then take those adjustable fingers, move them in. It's a lot of work just to get a character to hold a gun like he's supposed to. But anyway, yeah, there's that. And that's going to be his big cannon. Let me actually make sure his legs are fully adjusted out and everything like that. Yeah. Okay, cool. And I don't know if I went over it during the posability part, but his head does not have any articulation to it. Alright? Alright, so one last group shot to end out this individual bot video. And you can see there's quite the variation in size between all of them. I mean, from 2 inches to 9 inches, it gives them a lot of room to have like separate personality and everything like that. There are 2 clones, but even those are different enough to make sense. And yeah, I really like this as a group. The one thing I do wish for was more articulation in the more deluxe size twins. But, you know, it's one of those things where the toy is a little bit older. So it doesn't really give it a pass, but at the same time it makes it more understandable than if this toy came out in like 2005, you know, instead of the 90s. But okay, this has been the Soul of Chogokin, GX-13, Dancouga, individual bot videos, and in part 2, the next video, we're going to be looking at the full Gestalt. We'll go through the transformation and, you know, everything that has to do with the Gestalt itself. Alright, until then, see you later. Thanks for watching.